no be guesswork. Law no be noise. Law na truth we stand like stone. If the book talk can bring them out. If you know they leave the man alone. Hey, I'ma go show me the law. If it ain't for paper, make the whole world know. I'ma go show me the law. If truth stands strong, justice go glow. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu talk and blame. No anger for him face, no pain. I'ma go show me the law. Make fairness fall like rain. Oh yeah, yeah, oh, in the end, not truth go speak. Now justice go make the weak strong, and history go remember the day a man stood tall and said, "Show me the law." Oh, yeah, yeah. Show me the law. Oh, yeah, yeah.
All right, lovers of freedom, I'm sorry for running out late. I was supposed to start this program almost 30 minutes ago. We are going to host our brother, Pastor Emeka Livingstone. Some of you know him. He's a very eloquent man, very intelligent man. Those that are highly dedicated to this struggle, people that can be able to go out there to make a very constructive argument, to be able to put things on the table of those that are looking for freedom. We are welcoming them back. All of us are one family. I'm going to bring him in now without wasting much time. And at the end of the day, if you have any question to ask him, he's a man. We do have issues. If you see the way he analyzes it, you know that he's speaking from a very pure heart, not just dubious like others. And when he sees things going wrong, even in the camp where he joined, he also condemned them. And we use, at the end of the day, he didn't keep quiet. He continued to speak to make sure that this struggle are being galvanized. We're going to bring him in now. Let me see whether I can be able to see him. Okay, this is just hold on a bit. It's not easy. I want to thank you, Achalu, our sister. I saw your program today, even though I was not in a position to watch completely. You are doing a very nice job. You speak boldly without minding whose source is God. All those fear they used to hold us down many years have been disappeared. We speak, and if you say what we are speaking is not correct, you come with your own argument.
The problem you people have in Nigeria is this. Your journalists, you see people, Punch newspaper, Tribune, Vanguard, and Nation, they are your second worst enemies. I'm telling you. They can never ever be objective in their reportage. Never, ever, ever. That's why all of you are suffering. But you don't know it. They were the same people used to scuttle the of becoming the president in 2023. Ask yourself, all of them that have been president from time immemorial, what benefit has it brought to you as a human being? Absolutely nothing. So you have nothing to lose. Absolutely nothing to lose. You look at them now, how they have now descended on Yoruba people, asking them to concede, give us your forest, we must graze, we must do this, we must do that.
All right.
Hello.
Yes, good evening from this side, Pastor.
Good evening. God bless you.
Bless you, Pastor. You are speaking live on the platform of Methuselah and One Melchizedek, and I want to apologize for coming a bit late. I'm a man that always sticks to time. I encounter unforeseen contingencies that I cannot control. That is why I came a bit late, but notwithstanding, I'm happy to have you. We're in a public forum where people are listening. have made a bit introduction of your own person, and I think from the comment that I'm seeing here, it shows that people know who you are, and they're making a very positive comment about who you are as a good man and the man that also stands upright to defend what is justified, even when we have a disagreement, even in the camp where you felt that this is the best position, but you never dare to begin to pull anyone down. You are speaking based on what is available at your own fingertips. So I want you to introduce yourself to our viewers so that they can be able to know who is speaking. Thank you, and welcome to my program.
Thank you for having me, and God bless you, Methuselah and Wanda Methuselah. And dear friends, I'm very, very grateful to appear here today. My name is Emeka Livingstone. I am from Arochukwu, Abia State, 66 years old, and live in America. And a Biafran to the core that believes and supports all the values of Biafra being carried out by the IPOB and led by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. It's my pleasure to be here once again. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, brother. As many of you must have heard him, he said he's 66 years old. By so saying such, you know that he's our father. Some of us are also watching. It can also be your grandfather. So we don't have only children in this movement. We have men, we have fathers who we can be able to rely upon to give us a fatherly advice. My brother, you are welcome once again to this program. Without wasting much time, I will begin to roll out what we have in stock for you. And I want to also thank you for accepting the union, as we are, going back to the way we started before we started having issues. My brother, I want to ask you, how do you develop this interest in joining IPOB headed by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and why not other groups such as Behaviour Human Rights? We have Masob. Why do you stick to indigenous people of Biafra led by Onyendu Mazi Nnamdi Kanu?
Well, it's a pretty long story dating back from when I was just about 7 years old. That was when the war against Biafra started. Interestingly, when the war was on, I was not living in Nigeria then. I was living in Cameroon. My father's brothers were all in the Biafran army. So the first day I got very, very interested in the Biafran thing was when my father opened his radio and Ojukwu was addressing the international community for 70 minutes. He was speaking. And he spoke with such passion that I asked my father, who is that? He said that is the leader of Biafra, General Ojukwu. I was just 7 years old. So from that very moment, there was something that pushed me in my spirit to stand with Biafra as my people. So fast forward, after the war, I can continue with the Ojukwu's faithfulness and belief for the Biafran people. Took time to study and understand what went on. Then it came to Masob. No, I was not led to follow Masob. I don't know why, I cannot explain, but I didn't have much interest, even though Wazirike was actually moving around then, and they had no violent intentions. They were killing a lot of them, but I was not moved. That doesn't mean that I was against them, but I was not led to. Then 2012 was the first time I heard Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And he spoke with such clarity and forcefulness, like somebody that has a passion, like somebody who is on a mission. You can feel the impact of his words. Then I was at Abuja, and as I listened, I became drawn to him. Then I came to America 2013. That was the first time I came to the United States as a preacher. So when I came, I also listened to him. And I understood that the man has been talking and people were showing interest. So fast forward again, 2016, I came back to America. And when I came, that was when it became obvious that Nnamdi Kanu was going places, talking, explaining, trying to prove his points. And I began to pay more attention because of the availability of gadgets, which can enable you listening to what he's saying at long periods without much problem with your credit. Then I now saw why I had been, drawn to this young man from 2012 when I first started hearing about him. So he spoke with such truth, such passion, such force, such eloquence, with the capacity to analyze things, not asking for trouble, but saying there is need for us to determine the next step we're going to follow. So I have to make a reflection back into the Nigerian situation. From the time the war ended till the present day, as I was listening to Nnamdi Kanu, I realized that it was expedient for the Igbos to have to design a way forward for themselves, because as long as they remained in Nigeria, they were going nowhere. So Nnamdi Kanu became the lone voice in the wilderness that was speaking with strength and passion, with conviction. And it was also like a light shining. So I was drawn to that. I was drawn to his capacity to think and analyze. I was drawn to his capacity to reason and understand situations. I was drawn to his capacity to make research and come out with informations that hitherto were hidden, or I hadn't full comprehension of them. So that was what compelled me, and I said, okay, I think we're of age. The passion I had from 1967, it is beginning to come into fruition, and this is the man to follow. This is the way to go. That's how I came into the Biafran struggle. It has been in me right from 1967, when I was 7 years old. That spirit had continued till the day I had Nnamdi Kanu. It connected, it clicked. I knew this was the right guy, and I began to follow him. Till today, I'm still following Nnamdi Kanu on the Biafran struggle, and we follow him forever. Amen.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. In summary, our brother just said he just heard the voice of our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Even though he know about Biafra, at least he witnessed it. You have heard from Ojukwu speaks, but the passion rekindled again on hearing the voice of our leader. That is how it is to so many of us. And I'm happy in their conclusion. He said you are going to be with him forever and ever, just like us who have decided to support him, because we understood that he has a very good intention to our people. Now, without overflowing issues, at least you can testify that all of us have been together while we were with our leader, before our leader was adopted from Kenya. The ex-director of state, the Chief Edoziem administration, that was just sacked, I think, a couple of weeks ago. Where do you think the former DOS got it wrong that gave right to formation of error of groups? Because I can see USB, I can see the one they call Biafran government in exile. You know, I know all of us were in the same umbrella. We are still in the same umbrella anyway. But I'm just trying to ask you, do you think that something they didn't get it right in that time that led to the formation of all these groups today? Because I know you are once in those groups.
Thank you so much. To start with, they weren't getting a lot of things right while Onyendu was still around. But because his presence was so strong and overwhelming, those flaws were not quickly noticed by people. But I know some other persons did notice such flaws. Because while Nnamdi Kanu was still around talking, I made mention severally that the people who follow Mazi Nnamdi Kanu don't seem to understand the spirit that governs him, that moves him. They don't understand the philosophy behind him, the strength, the truth. They didn't know. They were just seeing him as a cash cow, an ATM card for popularity and making money. Because a true leader is a leader, is not a ruler. He has the interest of the people at heart. And I was comparing him with David in the Bible, and I saw similarities. So, but the manifestation only took place when Onyendu was kidnapped. Because before then, even Onyendu had made certain comments like, I am not sure I have up to 15 persons that understand what I'm doing. The other time he said that if not because of God called him into this thing, he would have left this trouble. But because God called him and is doing it with all his life, you know, so those comments were there. They were all the signs. it was just a struggle for office, position, manipulation, and all the rest. But when Onyendu was kidnapped, that was when the whole thing came into fore. And it came into fore then Chike Doziem and co were in the administration. So the fallout, the inability of Chike Doziem's group of administration to provide the leadership that was needed when Onyendu was kidnapped created room for the birth of other groups, because it was the failure of the XDOS to provide leadership as at when due that gave rise to autopilot. Okay, so, and when Chike Doziem was being questioned by Umuada, I was there, why he was not, where was he when his principal was not available for 8 days? He couldn't give any clear-cut answer. I was saying he was going to make reference to them that he doesn't have any authority to do so and so. So we felt bad. And then, in the fact that before this thing happened, some people that Onyendu mentioned that we should listen to them happened to be against also the leadership of Chike Doziem and co when this thing happened, because they thought that their inability to provide leadership as at when due to plug in that gap were in the other camp. And one of them happens to be Simon Ekpa, which Onyendu said, listen to Efe or listen to this person. When it came Simon Ekpa, I said the same thing, but I said he's taking the thing to a new dimension and that people should listen to him. So upon that, we did not follow Simon. Rather, we worked with him in formation of IPOB autopilot, not in defiance of DOS, but a position of an alternate leadership to enable us pursue the cause of the IPOB. Seeing Onyendu was kidnapped and extraordinarily rendition, we were very, very angry. And so we joined with the hope of, doing anything that will upset the whole situation in Nigeria and bring about Onyendu coming out. That was what really happened. So basically, XDOS failed to produce leadership as at when due. That was what gave rise to the formation of IPOB autopilot. But then, if I may just add, along the line, we discovered that the spirit in which Onyendu operated was not being applied by Simon Ekpa and some leaders in IPOB. I was also a leader there too. And I brought this to their attention. And they refused to listen. Even though when I called that Simon Ekpa's attention to that, I had a meeting with him and Kelechi Adasayon Prince. I sat him down and said, what is going on? You are bringing in somebody from Nigeria who supports political parties and sponsors political citizens, political office holders. That is Ngozo Rapweze, who happened to have been in my think tank group but couldn't make any reasonable contribution, and she left. So she was trying to find a way to watch him, and she got him. So when we asked Simon, he said he's going to find out if it is true. And then another thing that we realized, that he was planning to print Biafran currency and passport, put his face in the currency. The same mistake PK was doing when Onyendu was there, and that made Onyendu to leave them, that it was wrong, that Biafra had not been formed as a nation yet. So after apologizing to us in the platform when we called him, and promising he was going to rectify that and stop that thing, he went ahead to vilify us as people that were against the movement, and then began to talk. That was when we separated, effectively when he said he will even dine with the devil to get Biafra. So I told him no, that Onyendu speaks about Chukwuka Abiyama. So if you are going to dine with the devil to get Biafra because you love Biafra, that is a red flag to Chukwuka Abiyama. I'm not going to be with you again henceforth, and therefore you are going to fall. So in a nutshell, that is what really happened. Okay? Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you for bringing that. And let me substantiate something that you just said now is watching me on the screen. when you talk about they are trying to print money and you came out and lamented about it, because I deal with facts. Now let's go here. Those of you that are watching, you are welcome to this platform. You are watching the platform of Methuselah One Melchizedek, the man that faces the reality. Our brother, you are hearing his voice, is Pastor Emeka Livingstone, a very eloquent man. You can see, even though he joined, or just like what he said, they just want to work together with our brother Simon. But as they are working together, and he discovered that something is not really matching up, and he also raises alarm. And I'm happy that alarm he made mention is now, and this is what I'm gonna play.
Sat down together and decided that they are going to produce a Biafran currency, and certain faces of certain people will appear on the currency. And Victor Adim called Kelechi and told him, please do the graphic preparation of the Biafran currency, and we have faces of people that be in the Biafran currency. And he told Kelechi, number 1, Ikemba Newi, number 2, Nnamdi Kanu, number 3, Simon Ekpa. Ikemba was to take $100 Biafran dollar. Nnamdi Kanu was to take $50 Biafran dollar. Simon Ekpa was to take $20 Biafran dollar. Madam Azuka was to take $10. Then Ngozi Orabuese and one other guy they called Oge, whom they said contributed a lot of money to the Biafran struggle, their name will appear in the Biafran currency.
All right. Just to recap what our brother just said now. I keep record. Some of the things we have done in the past. One day I will try to begin to roll them out just to reflect our memories back where we are coming from. At least, having said that, those of you that are still listening, I know you also might have a question to ask our brother. As soon as we round up with our analysis, which is not going to take time, we can give you many of you opportunity to ask him questions if you have. What our brother just said now regarding those who wanted to, sometimes people may be out of happiness, out of joy. They want to create something that is not in line with the modalities of freedom fighting. And sometimes if you didn't, organize it very well, outsiders will see it as a joke. Just like what we're witnessing today in the life of ex-members of DOS. They do nothing. They organize nothing. They are only good in criticizing. Once they see people that are trying their best, they begin to form one thing and put it on their head. When they see Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said he's the leader of 100-man committee, they turn 100-man committee into Shabbat Shalom security outfit, those that are used to honor life for our people on ground. These are people that don't supposed to come closer to freedom fighting movement. But unfortunately, we have them. And why we have them? Because of absence of the, intelligent ones. And what we're doing now is creating that atmosphere to enable those who have something upstairs to begin to step forward in galvanizing what we are doing. We are no more only your IPOB, you take oath, because if you are not an IPOB, don't come closer. No, this is for Biafrans. And Mazi Nnamdi have grown past just the leader of IPOB. Like I said, he is the leader of those who have conscience and African at large. Now, let's go. Let's go to, I think, having answered that question, I think is also, unless you wanted to ask something, because I discovered that the question you just answered now is almost related to what I just wanted to ask you regarding the dissolution of the Chike Dozum administration. Do you think that it came late, or do you think that is a proper thing to do at this point in time? Because some people are saying, dissolving that Chike Dozum administration will bring more division among us. Now we need to unite together. That they would have allowed them to give them chance to see if they can be able to do something that can be able to move this struggle forward. So what do you have to say about that, our pastor?
Yes, anybody that is speaking against what Nnamdi Kanu did is part of those people that have a damaged psyche, that are incapable of discerning and give a balancing act in trying to find out what is good and what is bad, and then making responsible and reasonable decisions as at when due, so as to stem the tide of something that might turn out to be a hydra-headed monster that might consume us in the long run. When Onyendu made that decision, two things were very, very outstanding. Number one, it was God's time. Remember, Onyendu, each time he talks, he makes references to Chukwu Abiyama. So you will understand that he did not start this thing based on his own ideas. Possibly he has the passion for Biafra, but as the time progressed, he needed an authority, a motivation that should move him forward to carry on with this struggle. There is a balance we speak within the Christian fold that says that the grace of God can only sustain you where the will of God has led you. So if it is not the will of God and you go, there will be no grace when problem comes. So that's number one. It was God's timing. Number two, Onyendu is a strategist. I don't want anybody to see me as raising him to the level of a divine being. No, let me put it boldly. He's a master strategist. That's what Onyendu is. He allowed things to happen until the fullness of time based on the instruction of the person that gave him the authority and the power to function. He said that God told him that when you get 100 men, I am going to give you Biafra. It said that, I think, 2019 or 2018.
Yes.
Even when the DOS were already in administration, he made that comment. So it was clear that this has nothing to do with DOS. It was an elite squad, maybe intellectually, maybe spiritually, maybe physically, maybe financially, maybe a combination of all these factors that are needed with people of different, capacities, amounting up to 100 of them. Then that will move God in the realm of the spirit to do what he wants to do for Biafra. So the coming of the 100 men, it's not something intended to rubbish the ex-DOS. No, it was intended to advance the Biafran cause, with Onyendu simply obeying a divine instruction. And if it is understood in that light, there is no need raising any manner of challenge where Onyendu is, because if you do that, you challenge the authority that sent him. Then number two, it was needful for Onyendu to change them, because if you take a cursory look into history, not too deeply, when without meaning to give anybody unnecessary prominence, but let us recommend people where they did well and condemn them where they did wrong. When what's his name, Uchemefo was in charge, when Onyendu was first detained and locked up for years, then he was the assistant to Onyendu. He did his job excellently. He held sway, maintained the struggle perfectly until Onyendu came out. There was nothing like him trying to succeed Onyendu or remove him from office. Now, whatever transpired after that is a story for another day. But what I'm trying to infer or make reference to is he held sway. He did it very well. Now, when it came to the point of Chike Dosiem and Tina Samoru and Iruanya and Form and others, the whole thing went into chaos. The very moment, in the first place, they were not meeting up to expectation. They just wanted the office. I'm going to read out an argument which I copied copiously from Barrister Ikechukwu Noah, by respect to him. But let me just finish before I quote that thing. So when their time came, they were not able to hold the family intact. And then divisions were already there because certain manipulations were being done to remove certain people so that certain persons would stay. So as soon as Onyendu was kidnapped, the first thing Chike Dosiem did was to approach Madam Nengianya to, start controlling the account that is in Germany, and they went to America, withheld money amounting to about $747,000. Now, your principal was kidnapped. I think the first thing will be mourning and setting up a meeting, deciding what next, what are we going to do? See how you can pull strings and see to it that something positive happens, to know that the person he left behind really understood his vision, his teachings, his philosophy, his principles. But you never showed it. What you were after was money and consolidation of power and authority that turned into dead man's squad that Tina Samoru had that were operating contrary to ESN that was from Onyendu, a disregard and abandonment of faithful ESN members. Remember, ESN was only meant to be a security network to drive away Fulani men from our land, and they were very, very effective. Within 3 months, we saw the answer. It was fantastic while Onyendu was there. So instead of funding them, they abandoned them, and some of them went rogue and misbehaved. You understand what I'm saying? So, not for anybody who is saying, why did Onyendu remove Chike Dosiem from office? He removed him because of incompetence. And then number two, because Onyendu reserves the right and the authority to remove. Let me just tell you something here. I'm going to quote Basikechuku copiously now. He said, the law of internal authority cannot be ignored. This is what he said. He said, this matter is not resolved by noise, sentiment, or numbers. It turns on one thing: constitutional authority inside IPOB. If Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is the constitutional source of IPOB's chain of command under the code of conduct, then he possesses the legal authority within that internal constitutional framework to remove, dissolve, or replace principal officers, including the ex-DOS. If Chike Doziem accepted office under that same code, signed it, operated under it, and enjoyed the legitimacy it conferred, then he is bound by it in full. He cannot invoke the code as a shield when it empowers him and then reject it as an inconvenience, when it removes him. That means he's appropriating and reprobating. You can't do that at the same time. And then he said, this is why the central question remains unavoidable. Mazi Doziem, did you sign the IPOB code of conduct? Because if you did, then you did not merely sign a document, you signed the constitutional chain of command. You signed the limits of your office. You signed the source of your legitimacy. And if the code vests removal power in Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, then you also sign the legal basis of your own removal. In the law, this is where the argument begins. And perhaps, if there are litigations tomorrow, this is also where it will end off. So, if you look at this argument, it sounds like some time ago, Aloy Jimako made the same comment in Arise TV. He says, the law demands, the law of internal authority demands that if I hire you, I can fire you. Before Chike Doziem was hired or appointed to be HODDOS, Nnamdi Kanu was in Kuje prison. And Chike Doziem did not say no. You don't have the right. Let the man that was there stay until the IPOB decide to vote and bring out somebody. No, he took the appointment because it favored him.
Yes.
Now, so when he came, if you understand that this man gave you that appointment, he favored you, the same man can remove you from office that may not favor you, and you are bound to humble yourself to the laws that govern that organization, seeing this man as supreme head. Finally, let me give you this triangular organogram, at least halfway. At the apex of the IPOB organogram, please forgive me, is the supreme leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Above the supreme leader is God.
Yes.
Now, after the supreme leader, the next person under him are the council of elders. Just like you also have it in heaven. After God, the next person under him are the council of elders that sit around his throne. Now, after the council of elders, you have the DOS, where the HOD is the head. After the DOS, you have the international or continental coordinators, regional and national, and all that stuff. Then going down to the masses, like us. So, in that order of authority, Onyendu remains supreme. Just like, let me give another example. Like the organogram of the way Nigeria is being ruled. At the apex of that triangle is the British crown. Below the British crown is the Sultanate. After the Sultanate is the federal government. After the federal government is the Constitution. That is why the federal government can flag the Constitution at any time, because they listen, they report to the Sultanate. The Sultanate reports to Britain. So Onyendu is the supreme leader of IPOB. Let it be clear, anybody rising up against it is an evil, wicked person who has different intention. I had the reason to challenge a man called Edmond Obilo, who made an analysis today. I listened to it, and it seemed to tilt towards trying to, use the ex-IPOB, ex-DOS leadership as a tool to bring confusion and challenge the minds of Biafran to start a debate that doesn't make sense. Because this guy was intellectually dishonest. So I sent him a text on WhatsApp and wanted to have a conversation with him one-on-one. Let us discuss it so that if we don't agree, we can go online and talk and let him come out and let me come out, or I can refer to Nyanya or Kanu Takano, who are more informed about IPOB than myself. Let them come and sit with him and talk, or if I'm invited, I'll come there. But he just, was very evasive. He just told me thank you and closed it. That was it. So anybody that is speaking against Onyendu now is against the Biafran struggle. Because since Onyendu has called all of us to come together, the former autopilot collapses. The Biafran government is exile. That's nonsense. Onyendu said we don't have any government in exile. He said it, so he formed IPOB. Biafran Liberation Army, Onyendu said we don't have any standing army. That whenever the time comes for him to form an army, everybody will know. What we have is EXN. So if you see anybody going about fronting and parading himself or herself that they're fighting for Biafra, contrary to what Onyendu has decreed, now we have a new DOS and HOD. That person is an enemy of Biafra. Pure ED. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, brother. You see how he explained things in detail. That is a man that is outspoken. That's the kind of people we need in this movement. You see how he's speaking. Very, fluent. If it is German, they say fluent. Uninterrupted. He was just flowing. That is the kind of people we are looking for. We are begging many of you. We are no more into, are you under oath? Are you IPO member? Have you gone to meeting? How many times have you paid your dues? Provided you have something upstairs, that's a new movement that is in vogue, which is still IPO. But
I paid my dues under IPO. Exactly.
Exactly.
Paid my dues.
Yes. We have new leadership. And some of the things which I'm going to ask our brother, we need to learn from the past mistakes. Yes, we have done something that are not really in line in the past, and we need to learn from it. That is why it is good to always reflect what has transpired in the past, to use it to guide their present, so that we have a brighter future. The last question I want to ask, so that people who have a question can start coming up, though we can also start discussing in general over what is going on now. Now, we have new leadership, our brother, and it's our duty to also make sure they didn't fail, because the reason why the ex-directorate of state didn't succeed, because they don't welcome criticism. They see any critics as a way of insult, a way of denigration. Sometimes they made their followers to understand that as an intention to destroy IPOB, to destroy the DOS. So people now cling on that jingle, so that if you're making any contradiction, a contradictory statement that's not in line with some of the errors the ex-members of DOS stands for, they see that you are coming to destroy the leadership. So because of that, they have been governing people blindly, and people are following them blindly, which I was a member. I was part of it. I followed them because they say they use this statement of whatever Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said, whatever DOS says goes. But I begin to see things different. When they're now disobeying that man who made that law, they are following. Because you can tell me a man made a law, you are following, but you don't want to respect the man that made the law. That is the reason why you see me begin to see things different. And I woke up, and today here I am happily in the position I have taken. I have been, in the right direction, and I'm still in it. Now, our brother, what is the message you have for this our newly appointed leadership in IPOB? It can be in form of advice, it can be in form of commentary, so that they should know that we're also watching them, and also telling them that we are much ready to support them in any which way. We know that freedom fighting is not an easy task. We don't expect them to bring heaven on earth immediately. We know that it's a very tedious task to do, especially our race that have never fought for freedom before of this magnitude. So please, let me listen to you to see what you think that these people need to do now to be able to bring smile on the face of Biafrans.
Thank you so much. First of all, let me commend you, Melchizedek, Wande Methuselah. Your ability to understand where you missed it, like you said, then turned around, corrected yourself, and you're advancing the program selflessly. no hidden intentions. Everybody can see it. And so you have gotten bricks thrown at you from different angles. You have absorbed them boldly, and you still continue. We appreciate that. Now, the new DOS members, I heard today the coordinator general made a comment. Because in that comment, it was like sounding like the spokesperson of the DOS. I'm not saying he was appointed. I'm just saying he sounded, so I shouldn't be misunderstood here. Somebody was asked to speak. And then the comments he made were so articulate and down to earth, realistic, reasonable, and possible. So he gave themselves a very tall order. That his name is Mazi Nnamdi.
Yes, he's one of us.
He gave them a very tall order. I had the privilege of talking with him, and I told him, I said, when I heard you speak, I was so impressed that we have somebody who is so coordinated, intelligent, reasonable, and focused, that you have given your people a tall order. And I am sure you are going to live up to expectations. He said they will. That this is a new deal. It's not the mistakes of before. I said, fine. So what I have to say is this. IPOB has evolved. At the coming in of certain forces, positive forces, to advance the Biafran cause, to help Mazi Nnamdi Kanu out, because by reason of the same fact that the former DOS members could not perform, this people came. For example, look at a man like Sly Onya. Let me tell you the truth. I was given Sly Onya's number by someone else in those days. I called him on phone and I asked him, what do we do? Look at the situation of Onyendu. I was very worried. I went to Washington, D.C. to see Bruce Frank in the company of Prince. It was worrying me. I called the World Igbo Congress leader. You know, Nnamdi Kanu addressed them sometime. I called him on phone and said, what are we going to do? And these two men from Alibo were telling me, use the political solution. So that made me have a problem with Sly. But later on, Sly understood that no. We have to fix this thing. So he began to identify with Onyendu. And each time he wants to travel to the zoo for Onyendu's court case, he will tell me, and I'll be so happy because somehow we are walking in the same boat. As a matter of fact, Sly Onya went further because he advanced even more than myself by taking it upon himself and the group which he leads, Association of Igbo Veterans in Darfur.
Yes, Avid.
Avid. Now, Avid, which Sly is the leader, Sly is also a member of World Igbo Congress, but belongs in a department. But he has done wondrously well. In fact, the last time they were going to go to Washington, D.C., he gave me a very late time information and already had one or two of my customers. I had an appointment with, in America here, if you don't put up with a good reputation, you can destroy yourself, whatever you're doing. So I apologized to him, said I wouldn't be able to make it. Because if he had told me maybe a day earlier, I may have readjusted my program with my customer and tell them to wait. Let me attend something personal. So people like Sly, ambassadors for this thing, the Biafran Liberation or whatever, and others who came into this thing, has made the IPOB issue to evolve into a bigger dimension that is now inviting people that are intelligent, that are committed, that understand what Nnamdi Kanu has been driving at from the beginning. Like you rightly pointed out, it is not about taking oaths. Because people who are causing problems now, those who took oaths and they don't even understand what Nnamdi Kanu was going about. So they felt that IPOB belongs to them, they are more Biafran than you, and if you don't obey them, you don't follow them, even if you are saying the truth, they blacklist you and suspend you. That's what they did to you, they did to Achalugo, they did to Ejiro, they did to even Madam Nenia, and they did to everybody. So, but we now have people who are intelligent, reasonable, committed to the Biafran cause, understands diplomacy, understand the need to do something new. And Nnamdi Kanu endorsed them. The very day Nnamdi Kanu said efforts should be made to gather around them and finance them, I was very happy. That means we are growing. But there's something very, very exceptional about them. They all agree that Nnamdi Kanu is Onyendu.
Yes.
Avid agrees. Do you understand?
Yes.
Even Ohanese recently agreed that Onyendu is the leader of IPOB. He's the only person that they know. So with that, my heart is so happy. So I advise the new leadership to operate in the dimension they have found themselves. That means they should be robust in their thinking, in their innovation, in their capacity to deliver, in their refusal to compromise, in sticking to the rules, in seeing to it that everything is coordinated, telling the whole Biafrans, this is the guy who is leading us. If we stay as one under his umbrella, Nnamdi Kanu is the face of IPOB. As a matter of fact, anywhere you talk about Igbos in the whole world of Biafra, what comes to the mind of whoever is listening to you is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. The moment we deviate from that, we've missed it. So I am asking that these present DOS members and the Council of Elders, they should be up and doing in their responsibility. The DOS members should do the administrative work, bring their friends together, make sure that disciplinary measures are applied as at when due, give room for those with good ideas to bring it, work with them, function effectively, and then the elders in IPOB should sit up. They have been sitting on that bench for too long. That's why China Sanwo-Oluku bypassed them, looking at the organogram. It was even low in the cadre of the DOS officers. He bypassed them to be dealing with many people doing whatever he was doing. Ordinarily, they should have called him to order. That would have been a very good thing. Which Nyanya tried to call Chikedozie, but she couldn't do much. So I advise them to awake the elders. As for the DOS members, you have seen what has happened. If you were appointed and you go about trying to build your own organization or your own government, the way Simon Ekpa went, you will go. The way Chikedozie went, you will go. And then the Kanu will stay. Why? Somebody called him. Chuko Gabiama gave him that unction. If you are not going to work with him very well, they will remove you, go with another person until we get it. But I believe that they will do the right thing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. I think I need to clap for you. Those of you that are listening, you are listening to the voice of Pastor Emeka Livingstone. All of us, started this movement. I have to clap for our brother. You can see that what I understood from him is just that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is the center point. These are something that many of you are not understanding. It's not that we want to elevate him to equate him with the creator. No, provided IPOB is concerned, he is overall. If you say you don't want it, go and create your own. The way you people say, oh, you want to create an institution on top of somebody's project. That's why I asked our brother when he was when we were starting, said, how do you develop the interest? You see that his interest still boiled down to listening to the preaching of our leader. And because he have that passion in him already, the thing now have to ignite. Because if there's no passion, if Mazi Nnamdi can speak for Nati tomorrow, he will not recognize it. But because that's already in him, that just like a magnet, he say, oh, this is where I'm supposed to come out to discharge my duties, to make sure I contributed my own quota towards the success and development of this movement. So now, I think we have somebody who may want to ask you a question. Let me bring you up, our brother, because we are hosting our brother, our father, Pastor Emeka Livingstone. Our brother, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yes. You understand what we're doing? Are you here to ask a question?
Not.
Okay, then hold on now. Then hold on. I think Samalu, are you there? Samalu, are you there? Okay, he's off. Anyway, I want to just let me just hold on a bit. If I have someone who may want to ask, if you want to ask a question, come on. You went down again. If you have a question for our brother is telling us that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of indigenous people of Biafra, I'm gonna ask him a question that not yet may not be in line, but I want to ask him a question. I mean, Pastor, let me use this opportunity to ask you this. Our brothers who they were aggrieved, they said that they want to abolish the office of our leader for a reason. They said that they had discovered that Nigerian government are making use of those offices to cause chaos in the movement, that they want to institutionalize the movement, that they didn't want to remove our leader, that's still our leader, but that office, they abolished it, not to allow others to make use of it, using it to commit heinous crime, such as, using it to speak and creating Eastern Security Network that there is in their own hand, or maybe dishing out some unnecessary memo and functions that may contradict the code of conduct and they may mislead people. This is their own argument. So what can you say about what they have done? Is this something that is right?
This is so funny. The thing is this.
Brother, I have to remove you. Yeah, this is noise. I'll remove you. Go on, our pastor, go on.
Let us understand IPOB. Nnamdi Kanu formed IPOB as an organization. IPOB is not Biafra as a nation. It is an organization formed to advance the Biafra nation into manifestation or actualization. So somebody formed it and is leading it. So in this organization, he is the supreme leader. It is not a political party. It is not the nation already in existence. But it is an organization intended to advance the cause, manifestation, and actualization of that nation. And Nnamdi Kanu made it explicitly clear that the moment Biafra comes, his job is done. He will pull back, and the Biafrans will now pick up or choose those that will lead them. I remember he said that clear. So Nnamdi Kanu has no intention to usurp authority or maybe extend his office to be something that will be implemented in Biafra tomorrow. Because if he dies, another person that comes up with such enormous power may not have the kind of spirit that Onyendu has. So right now, IPOB is not a nation here, it's an organization. So what are they worrying? Nnamdi Kanu said, I will come down the moment you get Biafra, I resign. And allow people to run our country. So his main vision, his main mission is for the actualization of Biafra. Now, somebody asked him again, now if you leave, and then people come up and they don't understand what is going on, lest they fall into wrong hands. He said no, that he has laid down he has worked out some module by which Biafra can be governed. And that is right for somebody who got the vision. Just like Moses got the vision for the liberation of Israel, then he gave them the law. But since Moses left, the law has been applied. Nobody has come up to take the position of Moses in Israel up to tomorrow morning. The only next person that came was Jesus Christ, Son of God, and he came to bring in liberation to others, both Jews and Gentiles. So Nnamdi Kanu made it. I don't know why they are raising this kind of issue up. The office of Onyendu, as long as IPOB remains until we get Biafra stamped, he is the supreme leader.
Yes.
Now, when Biafra comes, he leaves us to choose. But for me, personally, this is my personal thing. In as far as I know that he has written down certain things that will guide us, so that Biafra will not, because Nnamdi Kanu has thought of all these things. I hope you know that.
Yes.
So that Biafra will not fall into the wrong hands. He has a guiding principle we'll follow. But me, I'm saying that even then, he should also lead us and set a good example, so that when we look at the principles he wrote, we look at his good example which he has given, and we look at whatever constitution that Biafra has, which has been written. Whoever is coming up, these are instruments, these are institutions, these are things set up within a polity that can guide us. It is self-accountable, so that we will not have a Nigerian situation or a situation of maximum power operating. He has it laid down. He has structures. So I believe that all these things that are telling you about removing the office, no. How can you remove the man who formed the office? Chike was appointed by Nnamdi Kanu. How do you get, it's a servant greater than his master? It can never be. And the master himself does not have any intention to continue office forever. So IPOB is not even a political party. IPOB is not even a state. It is an organization structured to bring about the actualization of Biafra. And the leader is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Without him, we are going nowhere. Why didn't God choose Chike Doziem? Why didn't God choose me or you, Methuselah? Why was it that it was Nnamdi Kanu? And if God has chosen him, why don't you follow the man God has chosen? Until we get there, that was what Moses did. He continued on. When they landed in Israel, did you see Moses come out to look for being king? The kingship came from the tribe of Judah. Moses came from the tribe of Levi. But he led Israel into victory. And then Joshua concluded it. So Joshua did not continue. Neither did Moses. The moment one they landed into the nation, they wanted their leadership. God told them he had already prophesied in Genesis. When Joseph talked, he said, Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Genesis 49. He says, the scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor the lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh comes. Unto him shall the gathering of people be. That means when the time comes, we shall elect leaders. But for now, let's work with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu cohesively so that we can get Biafra. When you begin to raise up all these nonsense talks from this corner, you are making us vulnerable for the manipulation of the Nigerian people, and Biafra will be difficult to come to pass. But we believe in Nnamdi Kanu and Biafra. We are getting there.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, our brother. I think please, those of you that are here, we are not here to add your own contribution or to be saying, oh, Pastor, you made a point. No, we're here to ask him questions, and the question we are asking him is where you disagree with what he just said. If you know you are on this panel and you are here to ask him questions, you are welcome. But if you're here to also contribute your own, no, today is for him. I'm interviewing him. I just want to bring him to the limelight because some of you may not know him. All of us started this movement. All of us have been working assiduously to make sure that this struggle grew. But one thing or the other led to dissolution of some of the things that made us to say, okay, since this channel is not giving us what we wanted, for us not to be docile, we now decided to use other options. And today, we are also uniting ourselves. We are coming back. We don't want to divide ourselves anymore. The more we divide ourselves, the more we become smaller, and it becomes easier for the enemy to swallow us. Whatever we have caused each other in the past, provided it has nothing to do with leading to loss of life in our homeland, which we agitated, provided we are not the architect, we are not the instigator. Some of us supported things that didn't know that this is the direction the thing is heading to. Just like, for example, me, I was also in support of this Directorate of State. I was one of them. In fact, I'm in the forefront. When you talk about the media warrior of DOS, ex-DOS, sorry, you call about me. We are the one that agitated. When I hear people say they have suffered a lot, do you know what they have suffered? So I didn't suffer. I didn't sleep. Every day we're on social media. So now I have seen that there's no road there. I have to return back and begin to tell you this is what we have been doing in the past, and it leads us nowhere. So we must confront issues the way they are. Now, let me welcome you. The person on the top, I think you are Mazi Chuku Buru. Do you have a question for our pastor?
Yes, thank you everyone, and good evening everyone. There is a phrase I want to use in the Bible before I say anything. For Christ himself said, there is no one born of a woman that is greater than John the Baptist. There is no man in Biafra land, or put it Africa, that is greater than Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And the point I just want to make concerning this changing or not changing, no more going back in anywhere. Majority of the people, they forgive their sins and bring into the IPOB. After forgiving them, they are today the saboteurs and also vampires. Majority of them that is against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Mazi Simon Ekpa, they are the same shoe, the same feather, and the same